BYB Extreme Bare Knuckle and the Mighty Trigon make their Jacksonville, Florida debut on Friday, June 14th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center for BYB 27, Brawl in Duval. BYB Featherweight World Champion Harold Lightning McQueen begins his quest for more gold when he faces off against the untamable one, John Bernard, in a lightweight title eliminator fight. Plus, it's a rematch, a grudge match, a year and a half in the making, when Red Sonja Dryling looks to avenge her London loss over 600 days ago to the Red Queen, Jamie Driver. Don't miss all the action. Visit BYBExtreme.com for tickets and information.
Welcome to the Original Fighter's Voice. I'm your host, Don Mcguire. I am so stoked. I've always wanted Jessica Link on the show. I've been with BYB for 3.5 years now. She has just been somebody that's always caught my attention when she fights, and her and Isaac do tremendous in this sport. So with that being said, it's an honor and a privilege to have you on my show tonight, Jessica.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I actually haven't done an interview in a while, so I'm excited.
I just had, like we talked about, I had Helen Peralta on yesterday, and then Monday I had Mike Vasquez and Greg Bloom on. It's always good to share the family. You know, your story has kind of set my heart really deep because I've watched you fight a multitude of times, and I even told you, me and Mike, I think it was in Rock Hill, we were in the back, and I just told him, I said, man, that chick can bang, you know, and it happened to be the night that you got a little upset, and I see why.
Right.
I truly see why. And you know, people can watch on TV or you know from the crowd and voice their own opinion, but when I'm sitting right there, it was a hell of a fight. I think it was a lot closer than anybody thinks, and in my opinion, I would almost like to see a rematch. So where does that sit in the heart of Jessica Link?
I immediately wanted a rematch as soon as we were done. Granted, we talked earlier. I wish Lupe would not have handed me a microphone. I love that man. He's fantastic. Yeah, microphones in the hands of people who are super upset don't go well together. I pride myself on being professional and composed and respectful, and that even though that's how I was feeling at the time, it came off as me being very disrespectful to Agnesa, and that absolutely was not. She showed up and did her job. Like, that was a great fight. I had so much fun with that. So my frustration definitely wasn't with her, and I know she took it that way. I know she took some offense to that, and that was certainly not the intent. But yeah, you know, I've had a lot of really close, action-packed fights, and with the ones that, you know, I lost, I can look at it and go, yep, this is what I should have done. You know, I'm watching saying, right there. But this one, I still watch it and I still I don't argue when I lose. I look at it and go, okay, what did I do? What can I fix? I can still look at that one and say, yep, there's a few things I need to change that I would prefer to change. But at the end of the day, I mean, she wore that fight on her face. And I mean, I didn't, but.
Well, to be honest with you, I showed my wife this afternoon, you know, when we were talking, after you called me, and I went through to look to see for the commercial and a picture of the fight, you know, at the end of the fight and my wife goes, who won? And I said, that one. She goes, how? And I said, well, that's what Jessica was just saying, you know, you're going to.
It's going to happen, but I try not to get too wrapped up in that. Like I said, usually I'm like, okay, I did my best, and my best it wasn't my turn today. But that one really still sticks with me as, no, I showed up. I did my absolute best. It was the best, and it just didn't translate to everyone, you know, where it counted.
Yeah. I mean, take me to that moment. I know it's hard because we're going to get really deep here in a second, but the frustration was on your face.
Right.
You could see it. And I don't blame you. See, it's like a lot of people, they want to be, put the blame or ridicule or say somebody was out of line. But when you put your damn heart
Right.
and everything that's in you into a fight, and to have it be as close as that,
Right.
I'll be honest with you, and Mike, Greg, you guys can get mad at me. I honestly really I thought the fight was closer than what they said. I thought it could have went either way. I told Mike, like I said, Jessica Link, every fight that I've seen you in, you bang. So take me to that moment when you did spout that out.
Right.
How frustrating was that?
So for comparison's sake, like I've had fights where other people saw it close. With another promotion, I fought my pro debut in bare knuckle, and I took it to a split decision. Again, even that one, I'm like, that was whatever, a split decision. It was a close fight, and I walked away with that. I didn't get that decision. I was just like, dang it, okay. And then any decision I've lost after that, that's the reaction. I'm like, dang it. Okay. That one, it didn't hit that way. Like honestly, the only word that comes to mind to describe how I felt, I was absolutely heartbroken. I put everything I had into that. I was in the best shape I've ever been in. I had never cut to one before. My cardio was there. Like everything was there. And for someone to just say, wasn't good enough, even though I can look at it and go, no, that was good enough. It was heartbreaking. That was probably the worst feeling. Like I've lost fights. I mean, my record's not great, but and I like to tell people I don't have a good record, but I do believe I'm a good fighter. I've taken some very, very hard fights against some very high level women, and I hang in there with it. The only one that I can look at and go, nah, that was not a good fight, was with Kalia Karuni. She was way bigger than me. I did that fight, but I just wanted to live. I just wanted to survive. I could feel the power difference. I felt like I was like, no, I'm not safe in this. If she cracks me, she's going to crack me. Actually, I lost a tooth in that fight. I had to go get that fixed later. So that was a bad one. I'm like, I'm cool. It's fine. But this one was, I gave it my everything. There was no, I wish I could have, should have, would have. No, I did all the things I wanted to do. And so it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I feel you there. The crazy thing is, to the listeners, you hear Jessica talk. She says she doesn't have a great fight record. I've seen a majority of her fights. The thing about it is I always tell people, don't judge somebody by their record. I knew this guy, and I think he lost his first 11 fights straight. And he was ready to hang it up and give it up. And I said, bro, you can't do that. I said, you promised your kids, you told other people, you can't just walk away from what you feel in your heart. And he says, you know what? You're right. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. Long story short, this guy makes it to Bellator, turns around and becomes a champion. So, I mean, it's like, you can't be defined by one fight. One fight doesn't define the heart inside of Jessica Link. Hell, you can't even really put a career. I mean, you look at Canelo. They say he's the greatest, but everybody wants to argue about it. So it's a perception.
Right.
And the way I perceive your fights and the way I perceive who you are, if I'm going to I'm just throwing dollar amounts out there. This isn't what we pay. I'm just hypothetically. But if I was going to spend 10 grand, I know I would put it on Jessica Link because I know you're going to bring a fight. I know I'm not going to sit there and watch a boring ass fight.
Right. I
know I'm going to get every bit of that 10 grand that I'm paying for you to fight. And that's why the promotion keeps bringing you back time and time and time again. Mel's killing it. We've got one of the biggest.
I don't know. I want to fight with him because it's been a little too long.
But you know what I say? We got one of the biggest rosters in the world now. So things should kind of open up. You know, Jules Gray didn't do a great job. I always thought that was a shitty decision to begin with, to hire that worthless piece of crap. But Mel's been doing good. And I mean, since the Tenori Irwin fight, BYB is just going crazy. I just saw a thing that BKFC is now having to partner with Ryzen again just to throw another event. They can't even put their weigh-ins inside the arena. They have to do it in the parking lot. And then you have Mike Vasquez on my show saying, I'm building a glass house. I want everybody to see that we're building it right. I'm not building something shiny to sell it. I'm building a house for 50 to 60 years from now for the fighters and my family. I'm not building something just to give it away. So how does that make Jessica Link feel, knowing that this promotion believes in you, this promotion believes in their fighters, and now to hear the owner say that I'm not building something shiny to sell, I'm building something to see through and show the world how it's done properly. How does that make you feel as an individual that is on our roster?
I am very thankful that BYB's given me an opportunity. I came in, my very first fight with BYB was short notice, up a weight class. I came in underweight against a girl who cut like 20 pounds to make weight. And she was at the time, I think, a 29-1 ISKA kickboxing champion. Like, I came in against this monster of a woman, both in skill level and size comparatively. And I went all 5 rounds with her. And it wasn't a great showing. It was kind of ugly. Again, I went in there and once I felt that, I was like, nope, I'm just going to make it to the end. And I did. I pushed through. I made it to the end. And they brought me back again. And I had a better showing. And then they brought me back again. And I had a better showing. Every time they bring me in, I do better. I want to do better because, I don't want to be some gatekeeper who's a difficult fight, but doesn't, I'm just here.
Yeah.
I keep getting better. I might be an older athlete, but I haven't done this very long. I've only been training, period, for about 8 years. I've only been a pro since 2021, and I shouldn't have gone pro yet. I was not ready to go pro, but because of my age, I wasn't looking at doing bare knuckle. If that was my goal, I could have waited, because a lot of the athletes in this sport are older. You've got people in their late 30s, 40s. You've got some guys in their 50s still doing this because it is easier on the body. I feel the difference. But when I originally looked at going pro, I wanted to do kickboxing. I wanted to do MMA. And at the time, my coach told me, he goes, look, if you wait too much longer, no one is going to book you a fight as a pro debut at 30 plus years old. He's like, if you want to do it, we've got to do it. And it turned out that the kickboxing match I was supposed to get didn't happen. So my pro debut was a bare knuckle fight, and I fell in love with it. From the first punch I threw, I loved it.
See, that's just crazy, because that's kind of what happened with Helen. I even asked her, I said, because I was in her career, with Invicta and other promotions. And I said, would it be a fair assessment to say that you truly found your true calling once you stepped into the mighty Trigon? And she said, you hit it right on the nail. I mean, you couldn't be more spot on. Is that the same for Jessica Link? Absolutely.
I feel so welcome. Even when I'm not fighting, I've gone out to both of the Denver shows, because it's about a 7-hour drive for me. I've gone out to both the Denver shows, and we're treated like we're the main event. Like, we go out, hey, here's your seats, enjoy. Hey, hang out with us afterwards. Hey, there's the after party. Come in the ring and take pictures. Like, we're treated fantastic anytime I've gone. And it really says something that, I've experienced other promotions, not just in bare knuckle, but other promotions in general. And I've never seen people go out of their way to make the fighters just feel like they belong. I've been treated well. I've never been treated poorly by any promotion. Some promotions are frustrating. Some don't have all the things I need. Like, hey, I went down to Oklahoma for it's kind of a feeder promotion, feeds into UFC. It's a decently sized promotion. and we had to use a trash can in our corner for a bucket because they didn't tell us they didn't have anything. So we're scrambling, and we ended up we dumped it out and used a trash can in my corner. So I've dealt with a bunch of weird stuff. So working with BYB is great. I like to be very middle of the road unless I have a strong opinion about something. I don't have anything bad to say about other promotions, but I definitely see a difference, and I absolutely see value in staying with BYB. You can't put a value on how you're treated somewhere. Someone might offer me a ton of money to go fight for them, but when it comes to the sport of bare knuckle, I know what I get with other promotions. I've been there, and I don't have anything bad to say, but I have so much good to say about BYB. I have no reason to go anywhere else.
See, I love that because, like we talked about earlier, I was with the real official bare knuckle. Well, other than the backyard, the underground, the Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation, which actually Feldman was part of that. And then when it kind of got crazy, he dipped before it got really crazy. Because I put Johnny Hendricks, Chris Leben, Julian Lane, Brennan Ward, Joe Daddy Stevenson, and then when you start adding up, we started adding up the purses, and we were like, wait a minute, you're not going to be able to pay out $3.5 million on your first event. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And Brennan Ward had got there early on a Tuesday, and he called me and he says, boss, they won't give me my show money. And I was like, let me make a phone call. And so I called him back. I said, bro, I don't think it's going to happen. And, it actually did happen, but everybody got rubber checks. And, if they even got a check. And so it's like, then I went to work at BKFC 1, got stiffed. Then they gave me another opportunity to come to work with them. And I saw some stuff that I didn't like. So I turned them into the commission. I took them in Mississippi. I took BKFC to the commission. We had a hearing. Feldman knows how I am. 4 days later, he sold to Triller because he knew I wasn't going to get off his ass because I just wasn't. I can't even tell you how me and Mike became friends. I can't even tell you, with the exception of the event, which was in Biloxi. Mm-hmm. And then I saw this promotion that flies fighters around, the drivers around the world, just so the fighters don't have to get into a car with a stranger. I saw a promotion that doesn't put you in shitty hotels. A promotion that gives the fighters lunches before weigh-ins and then a buffet after weigh-ins. But then I started listening to all these other fighters from BKFC going, but bro, we get paid 25% more. And then now you listen to them and they're going, wait a minute. By the time you do what BYB does for every fighter, that 25% more ain't shit.
Right. And again, like I said, I personally don't have anything negative to say about them.
Oh, no, I do.
Luckily, I have not been in your position having to deal with a lot of that back end stuff. I still actively coach and corner fighters that are in that promotion, and I don't have much to complain about. I mean, look, I can complain about anything. That's just ask Isaac. I'll complain about anything. But realistically, I can't complain. I've never been treated poorly, but I've never been treated as well as I have with you guys. BYB is fantastic. And, when I came out to California for the first and only Triad Combat card, I think is what it was called, the gloved card out in California. While I was gone, I don't know how much of this you've heard. My house was destroyed while I was in California fighting. The big fluffy black cat that you saw back there, he has a fascination with the sink. I actually had a meltdown the other day because it happened again, but it was very small scale. He has learned to turn on the sink. It's a single faucet sink, so it's not like twist. You just turn it on. And he turned the sink on while I was in California, and the sink does not drain as fast as it fills. I've never my house flooded. Over half of my house was ruined. I had to demo everything. Everything you see behind me, demoed. My kitchen was gone. I went almost an entire year without a kitchen. All my flooring was ripped up. My bedroom is directly below where I'm sitting, is where my bedroom was at the time. So I had no, like, all my furniture was ruined, like everything, clothes. Well over half my house was destroyed. And that happened while I was out there fighting. And to pay the deductible for my insurance was my entire fight purse. And when when BYB found out about it, they were the first ones to offer help for it. So it was fascinating, like just how many people stepped forward and said, hey, no, you're not spending your whole fight purse on this. Let us help you out. Between BYB and not just BYB. I don't know how much credit he does or doesn't want for this, but it was Mike personally made sure that I was taken care of. And then I come home and, my teammates from the gym said, absolutely not. This is unacceptable. They made a GoFundMe. And so between the two, my whole deductible got paid. I was able to replace things that wasn't covered, by insurance. And, so I was able to, my house actually, it's still not done because it's at the point where it's just stuff that I need to do. And I've been lazy. Like I've got like 4 square feet of flooring I still have to lay. It's good. My kitchen's only been in for maybe a month. Like that's how long. And that was April of last year.
Yeah.
So my house just back up and running. But had it not been for the generosity of Mike and BYB, and then of course my teammates from the gym, like everyone stepped up to help. And I can't say I would get that with any other promotion anywhere. Like I look at some of these big promotions, and I can't say I would get that anywhere else.
Yeah. See, you and I are kind of on the same page. My son got sick last October,
Mm-hmm.
and they told us he probably wasn't going to live, and Mike said, you take care of family. And I said, well, I got to eat, bro. He says, well, just start interviewing the fighters and we'll figure something out. And he basically did the same for me. And, I will say it was Mike personally, because it was Mike personally. And like I told him the other day on the show, I'll retire from BYB. My deal with Mike is a handshake deal. That's the way I like to do things. Mike is the first promoter in 40 years that I've ever trusted. And I'll stand by that. And anybody can say whatever they want, but I will defend Mike until the cows come home, because if it wasn't for Mike, I wouldn't have my house. I would be homeless right now if it wasn't for Mike. So, I love the rest of the BYB, especially Alex and all them. But at the end of the day, you're never going to find another Mike Vasquez. I don't care what anybody says. Just like I told you, and I don't care if she gets mad at me. I love Claudia, but I was being inducted into the National Boxing Hall of Fame, and she's sitting right in front of me and didn't get up to come say hi to me. But I can guarantee you, if that was Mike Vasquez, not only would he came sat next to me. It's just people are different in life, and not everybody fits in everybody's box, but you are perfect for bare knuckle. And we're going to talk more about that when we come back from this commercial break.
BYB Bare Knuckle hits the Big Easy for the first time Saturday, July 13th from the John A. Ilario Event Center for BYB 28, Bourbon Street Brawl. Two of the biggest and baddest bare knuckle fighters in the world today go toe-to-toe inside the mighty Trigon as undefeated BYB heavyweight champion Hurricane Ike Villanueva takes on #1 contender, the Cuban assassin, Gustavo Trujillo, for both the BYB heavyweight belt and the historic Police Gazette World Diamond Belt. Our co-main event, former BYB lightweight champion Monica Medina gets her wish and steps into the Trigon against undefeated Helen Peralta for the inaugural BYB Featherweight World Championship. Catch these matches and more live. Visit BYBExtreme.com for tickets and information.
So I have to start with down in the corner here. It says, everyone can see and hear you. I know when it goes to commercials and stuff, it automatically mutes me. But that's the first thing I saw. And during the break, you know how people talk to their animals in really stupid voices? I was pure talking to my cat, and then I was like, "Oh no, did everyone just hear that?"
No, they. I control all of that sitting right in front of me.
All right. So,
that would have made a great reel, though.
oh my gosh! No. Speaking of,
That's a big cat.
Oh my gosh!
See, we would love to share. We just shared BYB 27, which is going to happen, and I think what is today?
You're sharing what? Oh,
BYB 27 is. I think that happens in 5 days, and then we shared BYB 28, which happens the 13th of July.
29 promo reel is going to be really cool.
Yeah, we were trying to get it today for your show, and see, we can't even discuss your opponent, but that's the great thing about. They're just going to have to wait and find out. But we wanted to share Jessica Link because we want people to know that you're on this card. We want people to know that there is going to be excitement. Like I said, if I didn't think you brought it every time, I could give two shits what you think about me, honestly, but you do. You're one person in my whole 40-year career that I love watching you fight. Whether you win or lose or, get taught a lesson, whatever, you bang. You don't shy away from anybody. What coach or what mentor in the life of Jessica Link instilled that type of no flight aspect into your arsenal, because you don't back up?
I can't really hand that to one single person. One thing, and I don't like this, when I come down to Florida, you guys will see, I think, the third coach that's been in my corner. And it's not so much, I just gym hop and find stuff. There's been different circumstances. Things have come up. People have moved, left. So I've worked with a lot of different people, but I also think that has helped me figure out what works for me and what doesn't. I have struggled in the past because I have really bad ADHD, and I need taught a certain way. And that's not to say I can learn from anyone, but that doesn't mean I'm going to have a good time doing it. That doesn't mean I'm going to be motivated to want to keep coming back. So really finding someone who not only can actually coach me well, but the way I say it, speaks my language. I can learn from anyone. I've come down, I've worked with one of the best boxers in the world. He came down with me for two fights, I think, but he wasn't the best coach in the world for me. I mean, he might be great for someone else, but it didn't work for me. There wasn't that click there. Yeah. And, so my original coach, his name was Andy Zerger. He ran JMTK out of Wichita, Janjira Muay Thai. Any fighter you have seen from the Midwest that is high level, I guarantee has come through his gym. He was one of the original coaches in our area. A lot of the guys that do bare knuckle right now came from his gym. You got David Rickles came out of Andy Zerger. The coach I work with now, who is in Dave's gym, was under him. He's got a whole repertoire of these high-level fighters. And actually, when he moved away, he's moved to Dallas to start working down there. He had me and one of my teammates. We actually took over the gym for him, running his program. And so that was terrifying, because I didn't think I could do it, at least not well, because I look at how I fight and I'm like, man, there's so much I still need to learn. But Isaac has told me to my face, and he didn't mean this negatively by any means. He said, he promises he meant it in a good way. He said, hey, you are a 100 times better coach than you are a fighter. And to me, I took that in a good way. So for whatever's that word, I just think I can dumb down how I talk to people.
Yeah, I think that's funny. I got my own Rickles story, though. I'm going to tell you real quick, because me and Rickles been friends forever.
Oh, okay.
He
owns the gym now.
Yeah, I know that. He also owns a bunch of car washes and laundromats and stuff.
Yep.
And his best friend is Joe Wilk. And
He's one of our instructors. Yeah.
you forget I've lived in the Midwest for 30 something years.
Right. So you know a lot of us.
Yeah, I shot Bellator. I shot Glory MMA up in Kansas City.
You're over here.
Yeah, I'm only about 3.5 hours from you. Yeah, you know, Samaya Anani, they based that movie $1 Million Baby. She's also from Kansas City too.
Oh, okay.
And she didn't even realize that I was here, you know. But hey, I'm glad to see Shelby Lynn Cannon is watching it along with Rick Caruso. I do too.
I hate that she and I will probably end up fighting each other in the future, like, because I like her, but that's okay. We'll get in there. We'll go to work for the night and then hang out when we're done.
Oh yeah, and then my buddy, I love Slick Rick Caruso. I don't care who gets mad at me.
Rick Caruso as well. There's not too many people. Like, if you say their name, I'd be like, oh, that guy sucks. Like, I like everyone. I'm just like a happy little squirrel in the corner. Like,
right. Yeah, that's the way life's supposed to be. Everybody wants to trip, but yeah, I'll tell you my own little wrinkles, and then I'll get to the comments. I was so enthralled in our talk because I get that way sometimes. I get ADHD too, but I forgot I had comments.
I forget I can see them.
But I was doing a show when I had my syndicated show, and I had just hired a co-host, a mutual host, because I don't like the word co. And Rickles goes, dude, you really suck balls. I said, like you did your last 3 fights? I said, you're only going to be known for the greatest walkout in MMA history. That's it, bro.
You're not wrong, though. That's what he's known for.
Yeah. But I said this live in front of my show with 2.3 million live listens. So then I'm like, you know, everything kind of tapered down, and Rickles was kind of cool. But I had to go shoot the Bellator fight, and the fights were over, and I was walking out the back by the live feed trucks. And all of a sudden I hear Mcguire, and I turn around, it's Rickles. I go, okay, I'm going to get my ass kicked. This is where it's going to happen. Oh, no. And, you know, he came up, he gave me a kiss on my forehead, and he said, you were right. He said, I did let my ego get bigger than, you know, my heart. And I was like, well, that's a trip. And he gave me a hug, and I thought I was going to get my ass kicked in the back of, it was in Thackerville, you know, so I thought I was going to.
I was there. It was the last time he went down there. I was at that fight.
Yeah, and then right before the pandemic, BKFC was going to go to Kansas City, and I was supposed to shoot that fight for BKFC, and then the pandemic happened. You know, so we're tied together a lot more than you think.
And I was at when they finally rescheduled that show in Salina. I was up there.
Yeah. So you know Reese Archer and. Not Reese Archer. Reese, what's it? He owns the little short guy.
I've met him in passing. I don't know him personally, but I know who he is. He manages a lot of the guys.
Christina Warhorse. He managed Julia Villa Tremonte, who's in the UFC. Yeah, you know, and even King Mo comes down to Oklahoma to do his training camps when he used to fight all the time. I love Oklahoma.
Because
I just don't. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I don't have any women. Like in the state of Kansas, I think I'm the only active pro female in the state of Kansas. There's one amateur that's my size. She's here in Wichita. She's young. She just turned 18. Which I gotta shout her out. Her name is Evie Wilson. Keep an eye on her. She just had her very first amateur fight. She won. But prior to that, she was the 2023 Gamma 17 and under world champion. Yeah. She was a 14 and under kickboxing. Like she's going to be good. She's new, so it's kind of a struggle to get good, solid work with her still. But I've noticed since she was a kid, and now that she's 18, she's bigger, she's my size, but she's really one of the only women I can work with. Luckily at 316, which is Rickles Gym where I'm at, I train under Chris Harris. He's actually my coach right now.
Yeah, man, Chris Harris, when he fought Julian, and neither one of them would back up. Remember when they fought each other?
Chris doesn't
Huh?
back up. He doesn't back. That's his thing. He doesn't back up. But that's actually who's going to be coming with me to Miami is Chris Harris.
Yeah, that got Julian Marquez into the UFC, that fight when he fought Chris Harris.
Yeah,
You know?
and I think Chris could have done some really big things. He chose the family man path. He's only been back in the gym for about a year as a coach. He fought a couple months ago here locally. It was a kickboxing fight, but he did it and then was like, "Yeah, I don't want to do that."
That kid was one of the greatest bangers from the Midwest. I mean, I love the kid, and him and Marquez were great. But I'm gonna get to these comments because I just totally dissed all my people. I am so sorry to all the people that have been listening over different things. I apologize. You know,
I can see the comments. I finally clicked on them and opened them.
I'm sorry. I got caught up in our talk. But my brother Paul Driscoll out of Canada, they call him Little Holmes. He's one of Larry Holmes' greatest fans. He says, "Hello, Don and Jessica," and he says, "The interview." And then a brother of mine from, I think it's Tennessee, he says, "Sorry, I'm joining the show late." He said, "You deliver on your fights and fill the seats because you're a top tier fighter."
I
What
like
does it make you?
fill seats because I take pride in the fact that I have sold tickets to every single show I have fought on. I went to California and I sold tickets. I have gone to Florida and I sold a table. I sell tickets out of state, and I pride myself on that.
Well, it's pretty dope because the other organization that you were part of, you have to sell tickets now or you don't get on the card.
Speaking of those tickets, Rickles and I had like a war going on ticket sales because he's a top tier seller. Like he sells everywhere. He's the only person that sold more tickets to me on that card that I was with him on, and I was so mad. I was trying so hard, and nah.
Yeah, he had Mama Rickles helping him. Don't let him fool you.
Well, and so one of his big sponsors is now one of my big sponsors. So now I'm hoping if I get the chance to fight locally, you guys should like come here. I'm hoping that I can do like he's done in the past and get tickets within these businesses, and people can walk in and buy tickets.
That would be dope. Yeah, because that area is so prime.
Well, and we have a shit ton of bare knuckle fighters here. Like we have a shit ton of them. Just in 316, we've got on Saturdays at any given time, there's 4 or 5 bare knuckle fighters in the room. Yeah, like we have a lot. And I got one of my teammates, I've been with him for years. He still to this day scares the shit out of me. I hate sparring with him. You are probably familiar with Evan Woolsey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's we've been trying to get on Mel to get him. He's interested in BYB. He wants to come check it out. So I've been on Mel about it.
Oh, you get more further with Mel than I do. I mean, I could call Mike and I can guarantee he's gonna say call Mel. So it's like, yeah. But you're the one that buys him poppy shirts, so
I know. I got it. I know my audience. Okay.
Hey, he was shocked. Where were we in Denver? I think when you got him that poppy shirt.
No, we were. Where were we? Because I was fighting, and I have not fought in Denver. I have adamantly.
It was Rock Hill.
Yes, it was Rock Hill because I remember we walked and it was nice outside. No, I've been trying to refuse to fight in Denver because I know what it's like up there. I've gone out there and worked out. I've gone out there and trained. I don't care if I can drive there. No, I don't want to fight there. We were in South Carolina. We saw it, and I knew he had to have it.
I was there when you gave it to him, and the look on his face was like, "Oh my god!" I love Rock Hill, that little food courtyard and everything.
That was a really cool area. We walked down, the farmer's market was going when we went and kind of took a walk. Like we usually try and go walk around like fight day just to kind of move around, just do something. And they had a farmer's market and stuff. It was really cool. Hey,
let me ask you, well, I'm going to get some more of these other, so everybody isn't mad at me because my grandfather's right there. A brother of mine, Bill Stacks, he has a show of his own. Check it out on YouTube or Facebook, but he likes to do gangsters and tell the mob stories from back in the day, and
that's cool.
It's really a unique show. I was on it a couple days ago. I really enjoyed the show. I think he does a great job. A lot of these guys out here, they don't. I like seeing other people succeed, and people don't really understand that, but I really do. I mean, a kid I'm training, for the last 6.5 years, he's going in the second Hall of Fame at 33, and I didn't give him the talent. I just taught him not to make the mistakes. But it's the same with Bill and all of us. We all just stick together and we all help each other, and it just makes life such a better place. And here's my adopted grandfather. He says, "Hello, everyone." This guy right here, my grandfather, I didn't have a family. So my wife's grandfather, when I was 16, most of these people know the story, so I'll run through it. I was homeless on a porch stoop and slept in a car at night. And this guy, he was a pastor and a construction company owner. And he offered me a place to stay and a job. I took him up on it. And 3 months later, he said, "Get cleaned up. I want to take you to have dinner with my family." Well, I've been with my wife for 43 years now. We just celebrated our 39th wedding anniversary, and we have a 38-year-old son. So life is beautiful. It's what you make of it. But this sport, I don't know. It's touched me in so many ways. It's given me faith and self-respect, and it's made me believe in myself. What has this sport done for Jessica Link? I mean, I know earlier you said you don't have the best record in the world, because what?
How far back do we want it?
Well, no, I mean, I want you to be pure and real, but I'm one of these individuals that I really don't believe in records. Because like Helen Peralta said, you could show up the best fighter of your career yesterday
and be the worst.
And then, so what does it mean to you? What does this walk? Where does it sit in the heart?
So a lot of people know this story, because they've followed me for a while, but a lot of people don't. I don't know how many of the BYB folks are actually familiar with this. Let's see, in 2015, I was like 200 pounds, and like there was no way I would have ever been close to 115. I was about 200 pounds. I drank a lot. Like that's just kind of what I did. And I got into a fight on the phone with my then boyfriend. And I was like, I'm not going home. He's being ridiculous. He's being crazy. Well, what he was being was very drunk and very suicidal. And unfortunately, it wasn't a threat. I came home the next day, and it was not fun. That was something I had to deal with. And so a friend of his name was Randall Patterson. He trained under Andy Zerger. He hasn't fought in years. Like he was in the gym at the time. And he's like, "Hey, you need just something to do. You need an outlet. You need an activity, something. Come with me to the gym." He introduced me to Andy Zerger, and I have been in that same gym since then. I've trained with other coaches. I've done a lot of cross training. I've worked with different people, but I'm back around now to where one of my teammates at the time, Chris, is now my coach. So I've been there ever since. And so in a sense, this sport, not necessarily just bare knuckle in general, but martial arts in general, it saved me. I don't know what I would have been doing if it wasn't for that man forcing me to go with him to the gym. I walked in there, and from day one, I fell in love with it. Like I said, I was older. That was in 2015. I'm getting ready to turn 36 this year. So I got a very late start, and I wish this would have existed for me before that, but it didn't. So that's where I started. And, part of my drive I don't back down. I push. I'm going to give you the most exciting fight, is because I feel like I have a point to prove. Like, hey, I started late. I don't have as much experience as probably any of my opponents. I haven't been doing this very long. I don't want to look stupid. That's my biggest motivator. I don't want to go in there and look stupid. So I'm going to push until I can't. And so far, it's worked for me. I feel like I've been learning on the job, because not only did I start later in life as an older adult for the sport, I started later. I didn't start as a teenager or early 20s like a lot of these people do. I came in, I've been fighting up weight classes, fighting these super experienced people. And so on paper, I shouldn't be hanging with these people, and I am consistently. So that is very motivating for me to be like, okay, I keep getting better because I'm still learning. A lot of the women I'm going with, they'll change. Things will be different. You know, they might work on a different aspect, but they're not going in as someone who is still actively learning how to do this sport, you know, and I am, which is why I've been better every single time, because I haven't peaked yet. I haven't reached my personal best yet. I'm still getting there. And that's what I'm still working on.
Yeah, you haven't plateaued. I mean, you're near the top of the mountain. I can tell you that right now, because I love watching you fight. Like I said, I'm honest. If you were shit, I would tell you were shit. I mean,
I know you
like
would.
Like Gordy said, you're raw talent. Yeah, I mean, Gordy, you got to see her fight. She's a pocket fighter that just doesn't back up. I mean, and for somebody that just a few years ago, like you said, was 200 something pounds and didn't even care about this, that's pretty damn impressive. You know, I don't care what anybody says. You know, it's my show. I'm going to say what I want. But I think in the last year, I think I told 3 or 4 fighters that I'm a fan of theirs, and I'm a fan of Jessica Link's, you know, and just like Tommy Turner's watching, you know, right now with us, Shelby Cannon's watching. I love that fact that BYB fighters tune in to watch the interviews and comment and don't talk shit. I think it's great. You know, this is, I don't know, you know, people could say, oh, well, they're just saying this because, no, but BYB is probably one of the only promotions that I honestly can say I truly love.
The fighters are friends. When we went out to Colorado, I think one of my favorite people I've ever met was LT. Like, he was fantastic. We found out when we were kind of figuring out, you know, what to do after the fight. We got invited to the after party. We found out there wasn't food there because it was just a bar and the kitchen closed. And LT's like, well, I don't drink. And I was like, I don't either. Let's go do something else. And a whole group of us went to IHOP. Like, it was just a great time. And it's nice to know that I can show up to a BYB show. And even if, you know, Isaac goes with me every time, but even if he weren't there, I know that I would be in good company and have good people to hang out with.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And people, you just got to go to a BYB show. I mean, because when I first started going, they used to give away free shirts. They don't even charge to watch their fights. Yeah. You know, on social media, it's just like, huh? You know, but Mike's a great dude.
That's why I didn't do it in Denver. That's why I didn't do it in Denver. I usually get, every time I show up somewhere, I get a shirt. I didn't get a shirt.
Yeah, I told Greg the other day, I said, I need some more. I didn't realize it. I mean, I got tons, but I wear them all the time. But
I got in trouble for wearing a BYB shirt. I got in trouble.
What?
So I actively coach and corner for the other promotion. And
crap.
I went over to the fighter hotel because I wasn't staying in the same hotel, and I went over there to warm him up. It was my buddy Christian. I was going in to warm him up, get a good workout going with him. That's all I thought I was doing. So I'm wearing a BYB shirt and just some short, like, I'm just wearing comfy clothes. Yeah. I get to the fighter hotel. We go into the gym. I'm warming him up, working with him. We're going through some combos and movement and stuff. And he was like, all right, I'm ready. I'm like, what do you mean you're ready? He's like, weigh-ins. I was like, you haven't weighed in yet? Like, it was later in the afternoon, I think. Like, it was like late morning. It was almost noon. I'm used to weigh-ins being like morning. It didn't click. It didn't occur to me. I didn't plan on being there for weigh-ins. I just went to go work out with him. I thought he was done weighing in, which is why he wanted to work out. No, it was time to go to weigh-ins. And I had on a BYB. I got in trouble. Oh, I got in trouble. Like, and I legitimately felt bad. I didn't do it on purpose. I mean, the fact that it wasn't an official thing. It's not like there's cameras out there and stuff, but still, I am a guest at someone's event, and you know, you got to dress the way you're supposed to dress. And I felt really bad. To this day, I think, you know, Adam Rohrbach, if you are from the Midwest, Adam Rohrbach works for that promotion. He's at a lot of these events now because he's not our athletic commissioner anymore. He swears I did it on purpose. He was so mad. He called my manager. Again, if you're from the area, Sam Kleinbeck is my manager. And he called him and he's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I didn't do it on purpose. I said, I'm sorry. I would never just blatantly be disrespectful. I'm sorry. But also I was like internally laughing because I thought it was funny that they were that upset about it. But so now that gets brought up every time I go. I was actually just getting ready to go to Colorado to their show. What was it, last weekend? One of my teammates took a fight, 24 hours notice, was going out there. Something came up with that, so I didn't end up going. But I took a picture of one of their corner shirts, like their sponsored corner shirts, and I sent it to Adam Rohrbach. I said, "Look, I'm ready. I promise." Like, so I got in trouble, and Mel and Mike thought it was super funny.
I think it's hilarious. Like I told you, I just seen an article. I don't think they're going to be around very much longer anyway, because now they're having to do fights with Ryzen. I know you can't talk crap about the promotion or anything about it, so I'll say all I got to say. I read an article that says, well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out if you can't do your weigh-ins in the building, then you can't afford to rent the building for that day. That's happened at the last 3 events. They've canceled 2 others besides that. And now they're forcing fighters. They did in the UK because it was a secret, but now they're doing it here in the United States. If you don't sell 60 tickets, then they remove you from the card, which is kind of
rumors on that. I've not seen it, but I
have. It's true.
I've heard it.
Yeah. And so I'm like, wow, and it's like, so I personally don't like Feldman because he owes me money. He's ripped me off, but I also gave him a fair opportunity when Justin Thornton was killed and the 22 fighters got suspended. I called him. I told him, you got till Tuesday to come on my show. If you don't, I'm going to rip your nuts off. I mean, that's basically what I told him. I mean, I could even show you the show. He came on and he answered my questions. I don't like the man, but when you take care of the fighters and you don't screw them over anymore and you sold a Triller and now the fighters are being taken, then my problem with Dave Feldman doesn't exist on the BKFC level. But on the BYB side, it does, because, it's like I work for the best promotion in the world, and I'll be more than glad to let you know that, Mr. Feldman, considering you don't even own your own company anymore. But, the thing of it is, it sucks. I wanted to share your opponent. Sometimes things like this happen. You can't. Right. But all I can do is guarantee everybody listening and the people that will listen to this on other platforms that, trust me, you want to be there for BYB 29 in August, because if Jessica's on the card, I already know the card.
Well, so after my last showing, who is now the champ in the division, if I can do that to her, and I am still very upset about that whole ordeal, I feel bad for the person they're going to put in front of me, because it's getting taken out on her. And if I pushed the champ to the point I pushed her to, I'm not worried about anyone else.
Oh, they could just go to BYB on Facebook and scroll down till they find a picture. It's like half of her face is beat in, and she was a professional boxer.
Right. And again, nothing negative on Agnesa at all. She was
she's cool.
She was so nice. Like, we sat in the back and we're like laughing after the fight, talking to each other in the stitch room. But when I was trying, like, I left the stitch room, I was running around in the back. I had like some medical people come up to me and I didn't know who they were. I hadn't been with them. And they're trying to give me a bunch of paperwork and stuff, talking about how before I am allowed to fly, I need a CT scan, all this. And they're like trying to give me stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, we're worried about the fractures, potential fractures in your face. And I'm like, I'm fine. And they're like, well, you lost the fight, right? I'm like, yeah. And so while I personally do not know exactly what all, physically happened to her after the, because of the fight, I mean, you could just see what was clearly there was some damage done. And she's the champ of the division now. So, if I can go toe to toe and then some with the division champ. I do not care who they put across from me in that trigon. I'm going to hurt them. That's what I have historically done. You look at any of my fights, save for, well, no, I cut up Karuni a little bit as well. That was a rough fight because she was so much bigger than me. But you look at any of the women I have fought in this promotion or another, I fuck them up in that clinch. That is my bread and butter. Those uppercuts are there for days, and I am good with it. I started out in a Muay Thai gym with a Muay Thai coach. He trained and lived in Thailand. That is where I learned to clinch. That's why I like being in there.
Read that comment.
I don't want to fight you, Shelby. I like you.
She said you're a beast.
I like you. I met Shelby in Denver, and I loved her.
Yeah, I called her a soccer mom on my show. Because she doesn't look like a bare knuckle fighter.
I mean, I don't either.
You don't. That's the crazy part about it. That's why I love both of you. You guys bang. Neither one of you looks like a bare knuckle fighter, but holy hell, you guys are. You guys could.
I used to be like a really aggressive person in general. I was just really mean and angry to people. And I'm not like that anymore. One, I got a little bit older, but also I used to have a real career before I decided to like quit my job and play gym person for a living. I had a career, and I learned very quickly within that career, I couldn't be a dickhead. I couldn't be aggressive. I had to learn how to just, okay, like you can't let stuff bother you. Like I had to learn very quickly to regulate myself. And so honestly, nothing bothers me. I don't get upset about stuff. And if I do, it's because it was very upsetting. Isaac likes to make fun of me because going back to the ADHD thing, I'm very schedule oriented. If I have a schedule, like this thing is supposed to happen at this time, that thing happens at that time. And if something is deviated, I stress out, I get super anxious. However, some big chaotic thing can happen. And I'm just like, oh, that happened, I guess. No big deal. And he looks at me anytime and he's like, what? Like, why are you not freaking out? I'm like, whatever. Like,
yeah. Shelby says, I like you too, girl.
See? Well,
That's what I love about BYB. And then my brother Gordy says respect. I'm gonna run through some of these real quick because I want to kind of get this.
I've been keeping up on them over here. I forgot that I could pull it up. It's been a while since I've used this platform.
Yeah, I just enjoying our talk. I didn't know you knew Rickles and everybody. It's
yep, those are the people I learned from. Like when I first started in the gym, it was because I was getting the shit beat out of me by Dave and Chris and Evan. And at the time, Ty Ingram was here. And you either kept showing up and getting the shit beat out of you, or you didn't show up anymore. So eventually I kept showing up and they're like, okay, I guess this person's not leaving. So we should probably just, accept it. I got told, our gym culture is changing. I made a point 100%. I wanted to change the culture of the gym after Andy left. We're a gym inside a gym. We're an independent operation, but we are inside a Genesis Health Club. So we're inside a corporate gym, which means we are a business. We're not a fight gym, we're a business. And so you can't have fighters in there running people off. So that was one of the things I really wanted to make sure we tried to do was change the culture of the gym to, hey, this is for everyone, whether you want to compete, whether you want to lose weight, whether you just want to try it, it's for everybody. And it wasn't like that when I started. It was cutthroat. I got told to my face, I don't give a fuck what your name is till you've been here long enough. And I stuck with it. I was able to deal with that. But I also know a lot of people don't have the mental fortitude to be treated like that. They don't want to be treated like that. So that's something we've really worked to change. And luckily, I work in that gym. I train out of another. Luckily, the gym I train at, even though it's ran by the people that were doing that to me originally as teammates, they've got a really great gym. Dave, his partner Cody Bittler, Chris Harris, they are some of the best coaches. They all coach differently, which is why it works so well. But the one thing that isn't the way it used to be is anyone can show up. The gym is for everybody, and they make sure that that's the case there.
That's so dope. Rick Caruso says that you're awesome. He says Jess is awesome.
Thank you, Rick.
Then he threw up some fists. And Jonathan Cole, he said, that's a great story, Don. Dave is a great guy. Yeah, you know, bro, I know you've never been to that casino. When you're in the back, if somebody's going to beat you up, there's nothing that's going to help you in Thackerville. I mean, I don't think anybody would help you in the front of the casino. So
no, like it looks like a really cool place, but I'm pretty sure that it's sketchy as hell. Like the building is cool. The building was awesome.
Oh yeah, the building's beautiful.
Yeah, outside of that, I mean, who goes to Thackerville to go gamble?
Who even lives in Thackerville, period? I'm sorry to the people that live in Thackerville, but I mean, let's drive from the top of...
Everyone watching this has no idea what we're talking about. They're like, what the fuck is that?
Right? Well, we'll just tell them this. From where I'm sitting right now, 7.5 hours from here is Thackerville, Oklahoma. It's on the Oklahoma-Texas border. Yeah, and it's the shittiest place on earth.
But it's got a really nice casino. Like that building, honestly, is so cool. I love it. Like the different themes, it's really neat. Yeah. The one thing I hate fighting in casinos. I hate it because casinos want you to stay and spend your money. So you go into a casino, there's no windows. You have no idea what time of day it is because when you get a little drunk and you start having fun, you don't realize that it's been 8 hours.
Yeah. Man, my brother is commenting. You know, I'm sorry, everybody, that I missed all these comments. I'll get a couple out, and then we'll just kind of wrap things up. Jonathan Cole says, BYB is setting the bar very high today. Mike and his crew are as good as they come. Bro, I mean, we've been trying to tell people that for, what, 3.5 years now? Well, I have, but, you know, they really are.
For me, I was sold. I showed up and they're like, here's your box to lunch. I'm like, oh, okay. That's all. I just need snacks. I just need snacks and I'm good. Like snacks sold.
See, that's all I was like, because, you know, my wife says, well, hey, Bill Clancy, one of the greatest referees in bare knuckle and boxing history, jumped in. They said hello to you.
I thought I recognized the name. The pictures are so small, I can't see faces on them right now, but I thought I recognized the name.
Yeah, he's tremendous guy. We just went into the National Boxing Hall of Fame together, and he also got the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, which was dope. And Gordy says, old school gym rules.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm the last generation of the old school gym rules.
Yeah, and then my buddy Steve Schroeder, he always shows up late. He says, I'm late as always. Well, see, what's weird is half of the country does daylight savings time. The other half doesn't. So like when I put, you know, well, because like tonight we started at 5:30, so it's 6:30 in California.
Yeah.
And so then I just put, you know, 8:30 Central Time, 9:30 Eastern, and then I get all these people calling. Well,
what time?
Yeah, and I'm going, dude. He goes, so your 8:30's my 7:30. I'm like, so then you're on Mountain Time. No, I'm on Central Time.
What?
Dude.
No.
Yeah, I said, I'm not even going to argue with you, bro.
That's not a daylight savings issue. That's just a him issue.
That's my brother Brian. So, I don't know what I did. I don't even know how to get back. Okay, I'm like, what did I do here? I can't. Okay, there it is. Because unless I hit it, it's not going to close it. But, you know, Jess, in kind of a short way, because I know we can't, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want you to get in trouble because I know you need the fight. I need the money, you know, but in a roundabout way, what does this fight truly mean to Jessica Link?
I think it gives me an opportunity to not only showcase that I am still improving every single fight, it gives me an opportunity for me personally to feel like I get another chance. Like, even though it's not a rematch with Agnesa, I feel like just getting in that Trigon again, it is another chance for me to have a do-over, because we talked about how that last fight really made me feel. And honestly, I didn't put boxing gloves on for 2+ months after that fight. It wasn't because of injury. I just didn't want to do it. I did a jiu-jitsu competition. I don't like grappling. Like, I've been doing MMA like 6 hours a week. I got into doing everything else but boxing because I was just like, no, fuck no. And I stepped away, and I've been actively training. I've stayed in the gym consistently, but just straight boxing, I was like, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to do it. And I feel like that was good for me to just, my philosophy was, I'm going to go to the gym every day still, but I'm only going to do something that I feel like doing. And I didn't feel like boxing at the time. Like, my desire to box just kind of broke for a little bit after that. And so for me, this is showing that I can do this.
Well, I'm very proud of you, homie, and I'm a fan of yours. And like I said, I know some of the greatest fighters that ever stepped into all genres of the sport, but in BYB, you're just tremendous because you have a way of getting in the pocket, and you don't back up, and it's an honor to see a woman do that. You know, men can't even.
My trick for that is I'm 6+ inches longer than my opponents. I don't have to get inside; they come to me.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't have to get inside; they come to me.
She said they come to me. It's just kind of true, but with Agnesa, you got in there though. I mean, I saw you get her in the corner, and you
right. And we talked about that briefly. Honestly, looking at that fight, the one thing that I did take away, constructively for myself is I choked up my range way too much. Granted, I did damage in the pocket when I got in there almost every time. Sometimes it was just meh, but for the most part, every time I got to the pocket and was able to get my clinch, I did damage. But I also had a lot of success on the outside of my range, and I choked my range off by wanting to get in the pocket. So that was one thing I watched and realized, okay, if I have this advantage, I can't take it away from myself consistently like that. I need to utilize what's in my favor, whether I like being in the clinch. I love being in the clinch, but I've got to use the tools I have, and that is length, especially at 115. I have a shit ton of length on all of them. I am the biggest 115er I think I have ever seen.
Yeah, I've seen a lot. I think you're the tallest one.
Yeah, I'm like 5'8.5". I'm almost 5'9". I have a long reach. My reach is longer than Isaac's. That's not saying a lot, but I mean, I've got a long reach. And so when it comes to my weight class, I'm big. I'm big at 125.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You look at Alicia Zapatella. I mean, I think she's only, 4'9".
Yeah, so small.
Yeah. I'm going to get through some of these comments, and then we're going to wrap things up. I didn't even know. Clancy said hello, and then he says, I miss working with BYB. And then he says it's been a great year for him. And then Steve Schroeder says, Jess is smart and funny. I like her. Yeah, Jess is cool. Yeah, but you don't want to get on her bad side, because she will tell you like I tell you.
I try and be very diplomatic.
Yeah. All right. Bill Clancy says in the Trigon, there's no room to run. And he said that Jess is very smart.
All these people calling me smart, I don't think they know me.
Well, you are smart. I think you're smart, and my IQ is pretty high, but I think it is.
Okay, I'm gonna brag for 2 seconds. So I'm really glad that I got on the August card, and that was actually kind of a favor from Mel, because they were looking at September. However, I was accepted into graduate school, and I start in September, and Mel did not want me fighting and starting school in the same month. He was like, look, I don't want to do that to you. August. So there's my humble brag, and my huge thanks to Mel. Huge thanks to Mel for doing that, because I was stressed about it. So like school starts September 9th, and the August or the September fight, I think, is the 21st. I think something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, they're all like 3 weeks apart.
To answer Steve's question, technically I do, because his reach is the most appropriate for me to train with, to be totally honest. And he knows it. Like he like will shake his head and turn red a little bit, but he knows it. His reach is probably about 5 or 6 inches shorter than mine, which is a good representation of most opponents I will have. So for the fight plans that we work on and the things I need to do, he's actually a really good training partner for me, even though he hates it.
Let's just put it this way. Isaac looks like a T-Rex next to Jess. No.
You know you're going to have to see this man in person soon, right?
I know. That's what I was like. Don't show him this show.
No, I forgot to tell him about it. So otherwise he'd be watching.
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not gonna say that. We're gonna go to one more commercial break, and then when we come back, we're gonna wrap the show up.
Sounds good.
I'm sorry, I had to use my iPad today because of touchscreen, but everything's going to touchscreen, even my computer, which kind of pisses me off. But we'll be right back after this commercial.
BYB Extreme Bare Knuckle and the Mighty Trigon make their Jacksonville, Florida debut on Friday, June 14th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center for BYB 27, Brawl in Duval. BYB Featherweight World Champion Harold Lightning McQueen begins his quest for more gold when he faces off against the untamable one, John Bernard, in a lightweight title eliminator fight. Plus, it's a rematch, a grudge match, a year and a half in the making, when Red Sonja Dryling looks to avenge her London loss over 600 days ago to the Red Queen, Jamie Driver. Don't miss all the action. Visit BYBExtreme.com for tickets and information.
And we're back. I just want to get one thing done real quick because I've been ignoring my brother from Canada. I'm sorry. Here we go. He did put a comment on here that I really wanted to share. Hopefully I can find it. Okay, oh, here it is. He says, thanks, Jessica. Getting insight on you, and I'm impressed. See you in the future. Looks like August. Hurrah. This was an eye-opening interview. Awesome for you, too. See, that's why I'm glad we did this, because I want people to understand what I see in you, what BYB sees in you, what relevance you bring to bare knuckle, because everybody wants to think of just that one promotion when they don't realize that there's other ladies like you and other fighters that are creating a path of their own, whether it be in that promotion, our promotion, whatever promotion.
Right.
It takes a certain kind of person to fight bare knuckle. Because I remember when I had Jamie Driver on my show, and she said, I felt the punches during the fight or whatever, but it was this and that. But she goes, I didn't feel it until I got home and I went to eat.
Yeah, you don't feel it till like the next day. Like that was the one thing I noticed. They don't hurt like gloved punches hurt. It's different. And 100%, it's not till the next day. And eating, dead on. You go to eat and you're like, oh, even if there's no like damage to your jaw or something, eating sucks.
Yeah, jacks your jaw.
Yeah, eating sucks. That is the one injury I actually did have in my last fight. I'll be super quick about it. I had some swelling in my cheek. So the fight doctors didn't catch that I had a cut about 2 inches long all the way down inside my cheek along my jawline. Massive cut. It was about 2 inches long. And they missed it. So it didn't get cleaned. And so as the days went on, I started getting like this rock hard knot in my face, and it started growing. So it was clearly an infection, and we couldn't figure. I went to the doctor twice, and they could not figure out where this infection was coming from. Because again, there was swelling. It was pushing on the inside. I thought like this is really gross, but it felt like I had food stuck down in there. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I took a Q-tip and I went to like clean because it was all swollen. It wasn't food. It was like the skin from my face coming off. And I dug this Q-tip in through this cut and ripped it open. And I was like, oh my God. So I went back to the doctor. I'm like, fix it. And dude, they pumped me full of antibiotics. It was so bad. I looked like Sylvester Stallone. Like my face was crooked. It was so bad. That is the one injury I got from that fight.
Yeah. Hey, and Isaac, I was only joking, bro.
Oh, is he here now? I texted him.
Yeah, and the homie, Mr. John Bernard, the untamable one, is also watching with us tonight.
Nice.
See, this is what I love. You know, I can't theoretically. You can see the last two comments by Shelby.
Yes.
You can address those if you want to, but because I'm on this side, I can't.
Right. So Shelby might be smart, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean that's a match that makes sense. So, but to be fair, there are only a handful of 115ers. Honestly, like there's only a few of us, so there's only so many options.
Yeah. And you know, John Bernard, you know, this is the last comment I'm going to take, and I can't wait to see you back in the Trigon, Shelby. You and Jess, you guys are just the women's division for BYB is just phenomenal. I just love it. I just love everybody at BYB, but
fighters. It's not, and I hate saying this because on one side, I love that women can do whatever they want, however they want. They can make their living, whatever way they choose, and it's acceptable. Like that's awesome. When it comes to the fight game, BYB has fighters. It's not a bunch of other fluff and then they happen to also fight. BYB's women are here to bang. Like they are fighters and I love that.
Oh, you guys can definitely bang. And you know, I'll take a little bit and I might get a little bit in trouble, but I would just like to say, and new, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
I love both of them, but you know, it's a boxer.
Well, I was going to say at least this interview, we didn't devolve and start talking about Isaac's butt because that usually happens. But I mean, I guess we could circle around to it.
Oh, boy. Isaac said, don't you dog on my morning wood?
If you and anyone else in here, if you follow Isaac's Instagram, he does woodworking and he shares a lot of his work on his Instagram and he calls it his morning wood. So, but no, we were talking about your tiny T-Rex arms and how you're actually a really good training partner for me because of it. Hi.
Hey, how you doing, bro? I ain't right. I think I like you. I'm not coming to the fights no more.
He's probably gonna text me.
But you know, I do love John Bernard. I'm not gonna lie. This kid, he impresses me. He's
Yes.
wise. He's intelligent. He's very, very, I don't know, smart. He's different. He's the new era of bare knuckle, in my opinion. And hold on, these comments are just like
he's asking real questions. I like this.
Yeah, well, he says the women do bang it out. You guys are always exciting. If you could go back and restart your fight career, what, if anything, would you do differently? Was the first question. And then the second question, do you have a fight nickname? If so, how did it come about?
The only thing I would do differently at this point is I wish I would have been introduced into the sport at a younger age. You know, as a kid, little girls did ballet or gymnastics. That was the thing. Little girls didn't do anything else. Especially, I grew up in a very conservative Southern, like I'm originally from Southern Mississippi. I was born in Louisiana. I went to a Catholic school as a little kid. I didn't know any of this existed. I was probably 21 before I even heard of the UFC, and that's because I worked at a Buffalo Wild Wings and we hosted the fights. And I loved it. I thought it was so cool, but it was another several years before I got involved. So that I would start way sooner than I did. No, I don't have a fight nickname. My manager has one for me. He brought it up the other day. He calls me the problem child because I cause problems. Not like in the ring. I mean, I do, but I'm just annoying and I bug people and I cause problems. So he calls me the problem child. But I don't use it. I've not used a fight nickname.
He says, "What has been your favorite fight you've been to, and why?"
I'm kind of torn on this one because my last one against Agnesa was probably my most competitive fight where I felt I looked at my best. However, I think my favorite fight that I've been in was when I fought Crystal Pittman, and not necessarily because I won, but because I got to fight in my hometown in front of my friends, in front of my family. Both of my parents were there. I could hear my mom in between rounds cheering for me, and that was probably one of the coolest things ever. So being able to have both my parents there and watch me doing something I love, even though like my dad doesn't get it, he's just like, I don't understand. But he was still there, and my dad doesn't leave his house much. My dad is widowed for like 10, 11, 12 years now, I think. So he doesn't leave his house much. He doesn't get out. So the fact that he came to that event and was up past his bedtime and to watch me do something that I love, even though he doesn't understand it at all, that was probably my favorite fight because of that.
Yeah. And then Isaac says, "I'm stealing." I don't even know how to pronounce.
Hold 2 seconds. 2 seconds. I'm gonna Eric. He's gonna be so mad because I woke him up. So this is Smeagol. He's naked and has no fur. And this is Isaac's best friend. Like best friend.
That cat's cool. I'm a cat person, so I'm cool with it. So
I have 4 of them. I'm a crazy cat lady.
he said, "I'm the old cat lady down the street."
Yeah, you're the crazy cat lady. But yeah, this is Isaac's best friend.
And John, everybody, because I've already had this lady on here for an hour and 30 minutes, but he says,
I'm fine if you're fine.
Yeah, he said, "Did you do any other sports outside of bare knuckle? If not, how did you find the desire in the sport? That's a wild switch up. Wild." Well, we already discussed that at the beginning of the show.
Right. Yeah.
But if
if
you want to give him like a 1 minute rundown,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, so I started out in Muay Thai. I prefer stand-up fighting. I've done jiu-jitsu. I'm a blue belt. I've been a 4-year blue belt. But I know I was a stand-up fighter, and I was supposed to have my pro kickboxing debut. It didn't happen. My manager, who was actually also Isaac's manager, bare knuckle was coming to Wichita, and they needed a female opponent. And so my manager calls me and he's like, "Hey, do you want to do bare knuckle?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So that's how I got into doing bare knuckle. He was matching Isaac. Isaac was on that card, and they needed a female fighter, and I'm the only female fighter my size in the whole area. And if I'm wrong, if there's anyone out there who can correct me, I think I am the only active pro female in the state.
I think you actually are, yeah. Because
I think I am. I know there's some girls up in Kansas City, but I'm pretty sure they're on the Missouri side.
Well, I don't even know about that anymore. The sport, any type of sport other than basketball and football, doesn't do very good in Missouri for some reason. I mean, we brought Kimbo Slice here. We brought Fight Night Returns. HBO. We brought everything here, and it all failed. I mean, HBO came here, did a show. We lost $340,000 on one show. I mean, I wouldn't want to come back. You know, we didn't even fill the first 4 rows of the auditorium up. It's just like,
well, it doesn't. I stay middle of the road. It doesn't help that the athletic commissioner in the state of Missouri is a piece of shit.
Yeah,
And I say that from a
Tim-
place of anger. He might be a very lovely man. I don't know. But I lost money because that man wanted to be up on a soapbox and prove a point to a promoter. And it came at the expense of the fighters. 3 fighters, all out of my gym, were all pulled off of a card for various bullshit reasons. And it didn't have to be that way. We were all technically, per the statutes, we were legally able to fight, and he wanted to make a point with the promoter. Should the promoter done things a little differently? Yes, but that's not our fault, and it was taken out on us. So I don't have nice things to say about Missouri.
Yeah, no, I've known Tim Lukenhoff for a long time. He was the ABC,
Yes.
president for a long time, and then he became our commissioner. And you know, it's different strokes for different folks. I get it. John Bernard says, "Nice kickboxing is my shit. That's my background. Cool." He says, "Best of luck. Keep up the hard work." And Gordy says, "Hockey does well." Yeah, hockey's about the only thing that does well here. But
Hockey
my
and
friend,
you guys
huh?
have hockey.
Yeah,
Oh wait, the St. Louis Blues are there.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But you know what I think we'll do is when we can announce the name, because I love having you on the show. I've been wanting you on the show forever now anyway, but I loved having you on tonight. So we'll bring you back on again before August, and we'll be able to go ahead and share that. Johnson said that's sad to hear about that situation. Uh, I'm not sure what you're talking about, Jonathan, but there's been a lot of comments, so I'll get with you in a little bit, brother. You know what, my friend? I'm going to hand the mic to you. If there's anything you'd like to add to the show, friends, family, sponsors, or just anything else you'd like to say, the floor is yours. And tonight's show was truly an honor for me because I've always wanted to have this one-on-one, and I really enjoyed it.
No, I had a good time. It's been a while since I've done an interview, so and I can talk all night. So thank you. No, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everyone who has tuned in to watch because I still don't believe I'm all that interesting, and I get like fascinated that people are like, "Oh, hey, I know who you are," and I'm like, "Why?"
Right.
So no, I appreciate everyone who's tuned in and watched, everyone for the words of encouragement, whether I know you or not. Many thanks to Isaac for putting up with my nonsense because I am a lot. He helps me with everything. He goes with me to every single fight. He has completely cornered me on his own once and he hated it, but he was willing to do it. So huge thanks to Isaac because he's a massive help for me. My manager, Sam, puts up with my nonsense. So that's great. He is overseas right now. He does top secret nonsense that like legitimately. So he's overseas right now. So I probably will call and wake him up at some point again soon. BYB, just for having me and continuing to have me. Like, I love the promotion. Well, I've had lots of sponsors come and go, whether it's, a one-time thing or whatever. My consistent regular sponsor here in Wichita, they're in Oklahoma City, Supplement World. Thank you. You guys are fantastic. Outside of that, that's all I got.
And Gordy Simpson says this was a very cool talk. He says, "Merci, Jess. Love you, D-Dog." They're from Canada. I used to do a huge show in Canada, so you'll see a lot of Canadians on my show and a lot of fighters like even Jonathan Cole, even though he's from Tennessee. He says, "Great show tonight. Y'all been through a tough week for us. Love and respect to you both. Appreciate you, brother." But that's what I like about the show. You see how many fighters came on here today, and
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
And who's ever heard of a really? I mean, because I don't pay for advertisement. I don't pump this. If it's not organic, then I'm not going to do it. And for this, when the pandemic hit, I lost my syndicated show because I couldn't afford $26,000 a year for my studio. But when you come on here, I didn't want to do this in Glenn. You got to remember his name now. Oh my God. Dean Lassiter, the cut man from Bellator. He said, "Dude, you got to do a podcast then. He goes, everybody's stuck at home. You'd be stupid if you stopped doing your show right now. So I went to this. Never did I realize that this would go global. I mean, there's people that watch it from, I mean, South Africa, from Auckland, New Zealand, Australia, Belize. I mean, it blows my mind. And there's a lot of people that watch it from Brazil. So it's kind of cool. I like to be able to share you guys it. And people always say, well, why do you do the backstory? Well, why am I going to share something that everybody already knows?
Right.
I would rather share.
People are nosy, so they like learning about. Honestly, people are inherently nosy. They want to know stuff.
Yeah, but it was an honor and a privilege to have you on. And Isaac said you get recognized way more than I do at Quick Trip, especially.
Yeah, I do.
And Isaac, I didn't really mean. I'm sorry, bro. We'll figure out a way that you can tie your shoes without having to put your foot on a chair.
Oh my goodness.
I like it. I'm sorry, Isaac. You're good. Hey, I'm not saying nothing.
Call me in a minute.
Oh, I love you, Isaac. I really do. Just don't beat me up, bro. We're good. Jess, it was I can't believe I did that. You want to laugh.
No.
It's a joke. Isaac.
I make fun of him all the time. It's okay.
I love you, Isaac. I do, bro. You're a good dude. Jess, I really want to thank you, man. I shouldn't have done that, but
no,
hey, life is short.
He's okay. I jokingly make fun of him all the time. It's okay.
Yeah. I like his beard thing though. That thing's pretty cool. He's got the mini Mike Beltran going on.
Right.
He says, I approve of this man. Well, thank you. I approve of you. So hey, we're square. Jess.
Isaac felt inadequate the couple of times he actually met Mike Beltran. So he's been my referee before, and it's like he was super excited. He was like a little kid getting to meet him in person. And I'm pretty sure he felt very inadequate in the beard department after meeting him.
Mike's is nasty. At least Isaac's is clean, and she says, I'm not saying nothing.
Goodness.
I appreciate you, homie.
I try to be very politically correct. I try and appease people. Middle of the road, and you're just fucking it all up.
I know. I love you, Jess. Thank you for coming on the show. And now that I messed up your life.
Right. Now that I got to deal with this shit. Thanks.
No, but we'll have you back on before August, Gil. I really enjoyed myself. Isaac, you really are awesome. But I really did enjoy having you on the show. I want to have you back on before August. So we'll have you back on before you fight, because I think that's only fair to you. Why have you on and not let you talk about the fight?
Right.
That makes absolutely no sense. So with that being said, homie, it was a true honor.
Absolutely.
To be able to share. Yeah. And like I said, Isaac, I approve of you too. You're a great dude. Jess, thank you so much. I appreciate you, homie. And I'm proud about your school in September. That's pretty dope.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Well, I have my master's in engineering science, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Ended up a fight photographer.
Hey, Isaac is also highly educated, and look at what we both do.
Yeah, do what you love. And that's the way it's supposed to be. On that note, you have a good night, homie. God bless you. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I love having her on the show. She's awesome. Isaac, you're awesome. You got a great sense of humor, but I do like your stuff better than Mike Beltran's, because Mike's gross. Maybe if he mowed it or whatever and made it look better. But Isaac, you got one hell of a woman for a fighter, bro. Just keep her going. You two are tearing up the scene. Just keep it going, man. I'm proud of both of you. With that being said, I didn't realize we were on for an hour and 34 minutes, but Jessica Link is just that much fun. And I had a blast. So with that being said, I want to thank all the BYB fighters that joined. I want to thank the BYB team and family. Until next time, have a good night and God bless.